Thank you for coming. Today I want to try to show you a little bit of my process. Usually, I start like a free form. I will show you, little steps. I already built something yesterday, really crude, like an armature. I'm gonna do like a figure of about 12, 14 inches, and I'm gonna try to explain you the process, my thinking behind the way how I approach. Something from my imagination. It's something related to these days, especially in California. And I'm gonna try to express what I feel in these moments. It's pretty hard time in all the West Coast of the United States. And yeah, let's go to. Otherwise, I get too emotional. So the structure is pretty simple. I start to build, I took like two pieces of aluminum wire. Usually I use different gauges. For this kind of character, I'm going to use, I think it's like a quarter of an inch aluminum wire that you can find in any art store. Then I use a simple piece of wood base, this is like a pine. Usually it's like, half an inch, or in centimeters, like 3 centimeters. I try to keep it kind of a good size, so if I want to shift around, I can kind of shift around the pose. And I will show you that I kind of pre-drill three holes, because I was thinking to do a certain pose before, and then I start to go in another direction. So it could be that while I'm sculpting I decide to go in a different direction, but the terminology of sculpting of creating this character is going to pretty much the same. So I'm using like an oil-based clay, a Chevron oil-based clay that I have here. It usually comes in kind of bricks like this, and I recycle the clay. So sometimes maybe you will see some white parts, some plastic, and it's because there are some silicone elements in the clay. So it's going to be easy for me to recycle and reuse it later for other sculpture, like in this case. So sometimes I find part of old sculpture. And then I have a conventional oven that I don't know, you can see here that I'm kind of warming up the clay to a certain temperature, because when I put the clay in the oven, it's pretty hard, and I really like this clay that is really it's kind of hard, because lately when you want to redefine more like kind of redefine some shapes, some planes, it's really easy to work with the tools and make it super smooth if you want, because of the oil. And it depends obviously what you want to achieve with your sculpture. In this case, it's going to be like a kind of a stylized figurative sculpture. So I'm using the knowledge that I have from traditional sculpting to apply to a stylized character. And I kind of like the way, know the anatomy, know the rules, but breaking the rules to try to do something for yourself, something that you want to express, you want to tell a story. So basically, I'm using this oven. Then I'm gonna have a few tools. Usually at the beginning, I start with the normal tool, like a wooden tool, something like this, different shapes. The different shapes, they're gonna give me different indentation into the sculpt, into the clay. For example, I really like this kind of wooden tool. It's almost like a knife. You can find all these tools in our store. I have a place down the corner where I buy all my material, my resin, my clay, my wire, and then everything. And I tried to recycle even the armature. This was an armature that I used for something else, wire that I used for past sculpture. So the setup is pretty simple. And so we have the armature, we have the base, we have the oven that can kind of warm up the clay, because the idea is to have the clay at this kind of consistency, so I can break it and start to apply to the base, to the sculpture. When I start to do the character, I'm starting from the base, from the legs up. So almost like building a house. You start from the foundation of the sculpture, because if you have a really strong foundation, everything is a relationship. The lower part of the body with the upper part, and then later I'm gonna start to apply more. I'm gonna start to do the arms. So before I start from the bottom up, because I noticed that with the years, it was easy to it was easy to work in this kind of way. And at the beginning, I will start to do more like, for example, for a human figure, I will start to do more like a real, almost like not real skeleton, but the structure of the skeleton. So I will start to build the arms, the arm like this, the little hook for the skull. But then when working for animation and working for the film, I noticed that it's easier for me to work with this kind of this kind of armature. It's going to give me more freedom to shift the pose, shift the overall shape if I need it. Especially when you work for production, that most of the time they change. We change way how to progress with the character, with the sculpture, especially for movies. Every company is different, but the terminology of the process is pretty much the same. And I'm kind of go free form here, but when I'm applying the clay, I'm start to think about what I want to do. Think about the way my character is gonna be. Especially, I'm thinking about the shape. I'm thinking about the underlayer of the sculpture, the body. Think about the anatomy of the body. But then obviously I'm gonna dress this character, so I'm thinking about the shapes of the costume, of the form is gonna implicate where all the elements are. And I kind of rotating my sculpt to see from different point of view. And sometimes it's nice because the gestural approach, it kind of give you some idea where to put the elements of the form. Then I have some reference here on the side. I'm going to show you later. Then I'm using like this wooden tool is going to help me to almost like a brush or a pen. It's going to help me to redefine some of the major volume, the major shapes. One of the things that's really important for me is to try to find the alignment of the feet, the direction of the feet, because the direction of the feet is going to give you the relationship with the knee, with the hips. So it's all in relationship, the structure of the human body, and to have a good starting point is going to help you with the rest. I have some reference here, so it's gonna help me to establish how to do all the part of the sculpture. Hope you can see. Sometimes you have to. I'm kind of exaggerating some of the parts, some of the shapes, just to give more characterization to the character. You know. I can start to see where where's the knee underneath, where start to get some part of the anatomy of the character. And if I want to do some shifting, obviously I start to kind of move the area carefully with the plier. I use different the plier can help you to shift around stuff. I'm looking the overall shape, the overall thinning of the sculpture. Kind of rotating just to make sure that everything kind of flow together. If I need to indicate some part of the then you can scope, you can add you can remove from the back and start to add a little bit more in front to just give a little bit more direction, to give more dynamic pose. I'm sure you start to recognize soon what I'm doing. Because sometimes the costume is really kind of give you the feeling, you know, the even the wrinkles, you know, they can give you a nice direction of the overall sculpture, you know, the way how the character is gonna move, the way how the character is gonna, you know, the weight of the character, you know, the so it's really important to find the nice balance between different area of the sculpture. And make sure that everything start to get is kind of believable, you know. Then in some area you can use more, you can put more clay, and another you can, you know, cut, remove clay. For example, here I want to put a nice kind of nice wrinkle there to feel more the bending of the left knee. Then adding some areas, some detailing, for example, in the back, can kind of help you to visualize the balance with all the different area. But you need to have a structure, and you need to be able to make it believable that there is a structure underneath the sculpture. Usually I kind of visualize the you know, the anatomy, the overall feeling. You notice that I didn't put the arm yet because I'm still working on the overall shape. Because sometimes when you put the arms, they can kind of throw you off. So the arms are I'm pretty much put it at the last part of my. Not really not really at the end, but you know, more like when I feel that you know, the structure underneath is good, then I'm gonna start to put more. I'm gonna start to put the arms. I love this stage of the kind of free form, even you know, when you work with your imagination. It's nice because you know, compared to when you work for movies, from other people design, from other people drawing, you are more forced to. It become more like a measurement. Most of the time it's almost like a measure one to one with the caliper to the drawing. for this I have like sometimes I have this kind of stand. I'm gonna show you. So usually I put the when I work from other people design, I have this kind of piece of wood where I put my drawing. There are some drawing here that I can show you because they are related to some movie that I'm working on. But you have this board, and then it's easier for me to turn around and to make sure that the sculpture kind of align with the drawing, and then with the caliper, I have different kind of calipers that I can use for measurement. I'm going to show you one of the obviously. There's a lot of stuff on my. So this is one of the calipers that I'm using. So sometimes I take some area of the sculpt and measure with the drawing. It's more for me to have a clear idea that where I'm going is the right direction. That I'm really getting to the same feeling of the drawing. In this case, I don't have the drawing. I have more real images. So I have an iPad here that where I can check the reference. So sometimes I use reference. When for example in this case, I need the reference just to know exactly how is the overall stuff, and then based on when I've defined that everything is pretty much in the same in the right direction, I go more on my direction. Even the face is one of the last thing that I kind of start to play around with the shape, but it's after I'm done with the finish that everything start to fall in place. I kind of like to work more on the legs usually, more than other things, especially the beginning, just to give a nice just to have the feeling that there is a weight, there is a posture, there's a the structure is there, And then sometimes I even draw. Most of the time I'm drawing on top of the clay, so it's kind of help you to define where the measure point. Then obviously when I'm working on the face, I'm still, with my eyes, I'm still looking other area of the sculpture. Make sure that there is a nice balance, nice rhythm. And I take a little piece of clay and then start to add in there. Then maybe I can start to draw some area there. And try to force yourself to don't put too much details. I'm still working in the overall feeling of the sculpture, so don't feel. I don't go there and start to do the details of the boot. I'm more like still working on the overall feeling of the sculpture. Make sure that the legs of the pants, they have a pretty nice consistency with the overall character. that you can push into the clay. You can you can cut, you can remove. I'm pretty much at this point I was kind of adding. Now if you want to add just a tiny bit more, you can just take a little chunk of clay and put it there. And I'm using the tool almost like if you're painting. Then I'm looking for the silhouette, the shapes, the overall feeling. Because then when you have a nice flow, a nice feeling for what you try to achieve, then it just matters to try to tighten down everything, try to tight all what you have here, and to make sure that everything is looking good. Obviously, when you do stuff like this, it's really gestural, so it's really fast, like, the approach. I really like the way how you can sketch really quick. It's almost like doing a quick sketch. Then you can take this one and bring it to the next level. If you want to redefine more, clean it up more, you can kind of bring it back. Make sure that everything fits in place. Everything, is looking good. Sometimes I put a little bit more time on one area, maybe I redefine, because it's gonna kind of help me to see the overall. Then I can always go back and then recheck it, reworking on that one. And I really like I really like to keep it, obviously, if you've seen some of my work, kind of keep it more rough, but try to catch the essence of what you want to tell, of the story that you want to tell, but keep it more almost like a really sketchy painting. I kind of like the Then when I get to the arms, I can sometimes I use even for my students. Right now I have a class, an online class that I'm doing through Schoolism. Maybe some of you guys are interested to play around with me, try to use my approach. I kind of show my student to do in this kind of way. So it's a pretty, especially with this clay, with this oil-based clay, kind of allowed me to do this kind of procedure for this character. So I should show you. I take just a piece of wire and then I kind of stick it into the clay in this way to do the structure for the arm. And this clay is nice because it can kind of allow me to do this kind of process. To have this kind of process, you know, it's nice. Then obviously when you start to redefine more the overall shape, start to, you know, I really like to work on the profile, try to make sure that everything looks good. Then start to add in the arms. Hope somebody's still with me. It's okay. It's kind of weird. Usually I do this live, you know, so I can see the reaction of the people in the room. But it's really weird, you know. Those times are really weird. So I'm getting used to this kind of situation, especially working from home, always alone, you know. Then I'm gonna start to put the other arm too. I can use the wire. And then if it's too long, you know, we can always cut it later. At least we have enough structure for our clay to get supported. Then think about, you know, obviously when I do clothing, when I do stuff like this, I'm thinking about the fabric, how thick is the fabric. You know, obviously the thicker is the indentation of this folding, it can go deeper, it can go, you know, you can emphasize even more. But all of this, if you have a really nice, you know, if you have a good relationship with everything, then it's just, you know, a matter of maybe adding a little bit more in some area, you know, subtract in some other area. When you get to kind of, you know, if I want to have a really clean straight line, I can use another tool and do like this. So I'm supporting one area underneath, and then with the top tool, I can kind of push the clay in a certain direction. So I have a really thin edges there. And then you can cut, you know, you can start to give a little bit better shape. So now I'm going to start to add the element here, and then I'm going to start to rework the overall. So it's all like a back and forth, you know? And it's gonna be I'm gonna finish to a certain stage, and then I'm gonna it's going to be available. The cast, I'm going to cast it, and it's going to be available. So some of you is interesting to have the the cast of the sculpt that you just saw live. Just I will post it on my shop. You guys can purchase it. Then when I get to this point, maybe I want to add a little bit of like a tool. Maybe if it's too long, before I can start to, I think maybe the arm is a little bit too long, so I can kind of take this one. Yeah, I can cut it here. Do like almost, sometimes I do like, even with the armature, try to kind of give a shape of a palm. To a kind of shape like this. Now I'm going to show you. So for me it's easier to see the direction of the hand when you're going to build the hand. Maybe I can put like, as I told you, like a tool here in his hand. And that is nice because with this clay, the clay can support, you see it's pretty solid. It doesn't move. And then when you get hard, it's going to be even stronger. And then you start to play with the shape, and start to play with the exaggeration of the form. Maybe you could have a bigger arm there. Then you can start to work on the back there. Start to feel in more the arms, the direction of the arms. Start to cut a little bit more inward there. Then you can start to indicate a little bit more, maybe the jacket, the seam of the jacket. And then if I have time tomorrow, I will maybe continue this sculpture. So if you guys want to join again, I will send another link. And, I have to check my schedule, but you know, if I have time, I do another live demo. If you guys want to see the process with this sculpture, you're more welcome and join. Obviously, you start to get that it is a firefighter. You know, I did it because today is even you know September 11th, so it's like 19 years from the you know from the New York tragedy, and you know it's nice to commemorate this hero. You know that really help us every day. Really brave people. Now the clay start to get a little bit harder, so it's easy for me to cut it. You know, even if you know I have a lot of lights for the video, so the clay is getting kind of soft, so it's really difficult to. Sometimes it could be difficult to work with. and maybe play a little bit more with this kind of nice folding, because they have this big jacket, and it's really nice the way how they fold with the overall structure, you know, the overall shape. Then start to add some maybe some pocket here, so it can kind of give a nice, even on in the silhouette, can kind of give a nice variation, can kind of break the shape. Maybe feel more the belt here. Then I'm gonna put obviously, you know, the straps there. See reference in a way that check the reference again, so it can kind of help you to emphasize some area. I'm still debating if I'm gonna put the mask. Maybe I'm gonna put a mask. But the idea is to have a general feeling of the sculpt, where you want to go with your idea, your story, and then just a matter to start to redefine the overall, make sure that everything looks pretty good in different angles. So this is what I'm doing. So basically, this is my take. You know, every sculptor has a different approach. Some people have a little bit more, they're more abstract. Other people they have more, they have to start with a really structural form underneath and then build on top. When I do this stuff, I'm thinking about the underlayer, and then I start to apply while I'm doing the overall shape. Start to think about the underneath, you know, how the anatomy is kind of influence the shape. Maybe tighten up this kind of shoulder. Then obviously, you know, sometimes I see from the top too, you know, make sure that, you know, has a nice rhythm. For example, you know, sometimes I work even like this, and then trying to, so it's easy for me to see where maybe I have to add a little bit more. This one looks like a little bit longer, so I'm gonna cut it. then I'm gonna start to redefine it a bit more. Some edges, some planes there. Then I did a little shifting, and I think it kind of give more weight, more posture, more direction of this character walking. Kind of pushed it a bit more the overall feeling. I have other 2 minutes, and then I have to go because I have something else to do. But no, definitely tomorrow I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna post another link, and then I'm gonna try to finish the sculpt tomorrow. So if you guys have time and you're gonna join, maybe it's gonna be pretty much the same time, so it's easy for people in overseas to see it. Maybe 1 hour early, around 9 o'clock Pacific time. But this is the idea, this is the first approach, this is the first take on a character. When I do stuff for myself, obviously when I do stuff related for movies or for other people, the process, the thinking is the same, but then it's more like try to make sure that you achieve what the designer, what the director wants, what the people, for the movie wants. So that is the main goal for me as a sculptor for entertainment. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoy. You guys saw my take. Kind of at least I have the feeling that maybe I hope some of you start to push on clay too. It's important for CG modeling. It's important for people that work with the three-dimensional form, for painter to. It's really important to have the feeling of the form, to have the feeling of the volume. You can translate all this kind of thing in your paint, your drawing, your design. Make sure that you feel you do what you want to do. You do what you feel to do. Yeah, this is the sculpt that I'm gonna try to finish tomorrow. And thank you for sticking by with me. Take care. Be safe.